Hello people, my name is Rauh Suardana and my student registration number is 19120210. And in this great opportunity, I would like to read a poetry which is my own, entitled Gold is Word of Life. Gold is word of life, penniless shall we die, so they are safe. My belly is crying, begging mercy from the big rats. Gold is word of life, reefer flow from head, holding hunger for days, it's not too galing. Curse the blank rice set on a plate. Gold is word of life. Tick-tock, shout the clock while on the bed. Without gold, God's shape shall be dying. With gold, people spread hate. So now, I would like to provide a short analysis about my poetry. So basically this poetry is based on my own experiences being poor. So I was born in a poor family, and my father told me his story. So basically this poetry expressed the idea about poverty, or poverty but freedom. So you live in a poverty but you're still freedom, which mean expand the idea being poor is as miserable as slavery, but you're not as a slave. You are freedom. So the figurative language used in this poetry is allegory, anaphora, personification, sarcasm, understatement, hyperbole, allusion, and symbolism. The rhyme used in this poetry is an rhyme. So I would like to analyze this poetry, each stanza. So this poetry consists of 4 stanzas, in which developed by 4 lines. So the first line in the first stanza, gold is word of life, is an allegory of currency or money that can be exchanged for everything, because gold is word of life is repeated in every stanza, at the beginning of every stanza, to signify the importance or anaphora. The next line is penniless shall be died, so they are safe. This line consists of sarcasm for the government, based on my perspective on that moment, on my experiences. The government doesn't help the poor people. So it was this line is a sarcasm for the government who does not help the poor people. So poor people usually die because they don't have money. The next line, or the third line, is my belly is crying. It is a personification because belly could not crying. So it's also expressed the idea that poor people sometimes, not sometimes, but often holding hunger or starving every single day. And the last line on the first stanza is begging mercy from the big rats. It is an allusion and also symbolize begging mercy from the big rats. It's an allusion for today's situation, where the politician or the government usually take money from the people, in which corruptor, yes, the big rat represents or symbolize the corruptor. So the second stanza, once again the line "gold is word of life" is being repeated in this stanza, and the next line, "rivers flows from head." It is a hyperbole where poor people usually work hard using their physics in order to make some money and to buy some food. The third line, "holding hunger for days," it's not too galing. It is an understatement where usually people holding hunger just for one day, it could be feels torturing or it's hard to do. But for poor people, the understatement, "it's not too galing," express the idea that poor people stronger in holding hunger. So the last line on the second stanza is, "curse the blank rice set on a plate." It's represent that no matter how hard the poor people work in order to make some money, they could not eat a proper food. They usually eat just blank rice. So we poor people usually shout or having problem in our mind that why I could not eat a proper food, meanwhile I work so hard. So it expressed the idea. So the last line, the last stanza, "gold is word of life," is being repeated again, and the next line, "tick tock, shout the clock while on the bed." This line consists of onomatopoeia and personification. As you can see, tick tock is an onomatopoeia, and shout the clock while on the bed is personification. This line expresses that even though at night, when usually people get rest or sleep, poor people could not. They always haunted by the scary or the feeling that tomorrow they must work harder in order to make some money to feed their family, to feed their own belly. The last two line is an irony, or where these last two line consists of the widest moral value that we can obtain. "Without gold, God's sheep shall be dying." So it represents that without money, all of the people could die. Even though the rich people, when they suddenly became poor, trust me, they will be die. Not because of their age, but because they could not survive in today's society. So the last line, "with gold, people spread hate." So this is the irony. When you have no money, you die. You could not live in this society. But if you have money, the real attitude or the real face or the real behavior of human will be appeared, in which human always work for their self. So it's back or represents the politician again as a corruptor. With gold, people spread hate. So usually politicians spread hate to other politicians in order to gain some trust from the people on the election. They fooling people. I think that's all of my analysis, and I would like to provide a little moral value based on my poem, which is you have to make a lot of money, but in a correct way, because money is everything. I strongly agree that people say money is not everything, but in fact, in the reality of life, everything needs money. Thank you.